Good evening. Hello. Welcome to some more rFactor 2 and the Monaco Grand Prix 1984 on a soaking wet Monaco circuit. Now, my name is Roy, obviously, because you're on my channel. Hello. And alongside for this wet race, I do have someone who has tried these cars in the wet. Joachim.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, look at that. My OBS is actually working now. It started going live. Awesome.
And my game crashed.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I probably shouldn't have said that it was working, because now it stopped again.
Yeah. So everything is like usual.
Yes, indeed. No, click that button. No, didn't help. No, okay, fine. As long as it's live on air, that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
So what are we looking at tonight? We are looking at a 31 lap race. That's
With
gonna
no
be
red flags.
yeah, no red flags. I don't think we'll get anyway.
No.
But I do fear that we will see quite a lot of yellows.
And maybe some blues ones.
Yeah, possibly. So we've got 7 drivers on the grid for tonight. That's well, it's not massive, but at the same time, it's not bad considering. Oh, there we go. Edward is around. It's not bad considering the time of year, really.
Yeah. I would say it's decent.
Yeah, because usually in the summertime, the number of drivers usually go down at the same time that the temperature goes up.
Yep.
Yeah, let's follow Edward around for a little bit so we get a bit of an idea how difficult this really is. Of course, not this part in the tunnel, because the tunnel is pretty good, but once you're on the outside, it is this slippery.
Yeah. Exactly, this slippery. So just before starting the stream, I was in the lobby and talking to the guys on Discord, and I had got some interesting news from Edward. As you might know, this layout of the track is not exactly the same as the ones they drove back in the days.
Yeah, correct.
But the fastest lap time in the race we are supposed to call it emulate.
Yep.
I believe it said it was 150 something, 156.
Oh, okay, maybe.
But this layout we're driving now, with the amount of rain rFactor is allowing us to put on, we are still 15 seconds faster per lap.
Yeah. Yeah, because I see that Luca has the fastest lap time on the server right now, and he's at, I don't know, 136.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh.
So I suggested to Edward that we should raise the water level in the harbor.
Yeah. Edward went back to the pits, so I jumped to crash instead, and of course he was facing backwards in the chicane as well when we jumped to him.
Well, I guess we will see a lot of cars going either the wrong way or standing the wrong way in this race.
Yeah, I think so. But thankfully, the damage percentage on the server is relatively low. I think it's around 10 or something like that. So
Don't know if I can see it. No.
I don't think it's possible to see it anywhere on the screen.
No, it doesn't appear in the session controls.
No. But yeah, now we're 8 drivers on the server.
Oh!
After Pedro joined. That's nice.
Bonus competitor.
Yeah. Now, let's jump to how did we agree to pronounce it? Andy Schremser?
Schremser sounds good to me.
Yeah, because he's the newest guy we have on the grid, and he is also the creator of the mod.
So we could say he's a VIP guest.
Yeah, that sounds nice. So
it's actually in a good pace as well, I would say.
Yeah, he's done a 138.8, so of course 2 seconds off of Luca, but then again, Edward is...
It's Luca.
Yeah, Edward is second fastest, and he's done a 137. What
I didn't know your cats are barking, Roy.
Keep talking. Keep talking amongst yourself, and I'll go and have a look.
Yeah, check your cat. Okay. So back to the race then. Yeah, it's kind of difficult for me without controlling the cameras, but we are still watching Andy driving around the track, going through the chicane at this moment. It's so wet on this track that the guys are getting trouble getting some temperature in the tires. And with no temperature in the tires, it's getting really slick and slippery. So we're seeing Andy going through the final sector of this lap, through the bottom corner and out to the start finish straight, or bend.
Yeah, it's not really that straight. Well,
No.
A newsflash: it wasn't my cat. It wasn't my neighbor's garden plant.
Well, I know cats don't bark, but that was quite a loud cat.
Yeah. Now let's see. Car data. Does that put more stuff on the screen? I think it is. I think it does.
You see, you have the timing up.
Yeah. Now if I click this button, we go on board. Oh, that's a nice angle. And we are just about to go into qualifying, I think, because that was scheduled to start at 1:15. That is where we are currently.
Yeah. Quali in 2 minutes, Edward said some time ago.
Yeah, okay, so we are just around starting qualifying then.
Yeah. He's in pit doing admin stuff.
Yeah. Oh, we had a big lockup from Andy coming down into the chicane, and yeah, I don't think there is that much driver aids available on these cars.
It's no driver aids.
Yeah,
on
exactly.
These cars. Yeah. Notice from Edward now. Everyone finish your lap, and we are skipping to quali.
Right. I'll have to go back and have a look in the thread. It is a 10-minute qualifying session, so it is open to do as many laps as you can and want to do within those 10 minutes. Which is a bit unlike what we do in the Thursday races, where we usually have 4 minutes to do one lap. Yeah. But I guess it's more in style with the open wheel racing that you get at least a few attempts to set a proper lap. So we're just waiting for the server to tick over and start. There we go. It said 10 minutes qualifying in the race thread, but I can see that on the server it's 5 minutes. The pit's open.
He just said it should be 10, so
yeah. The pits open in 7.5 seconds. But it says 5 minutes qualifying on my screen. Huh. Now, if I minimize this, what does it say in game? It also says 4 minutes 42 seconds remaining.
Yeah. But there's no disqualifications in the game, as far as I can tell.
No. No, it just means that you have 5 less minutes to put in a lap time.
Yeah.
We have a little bit
big
of
slide for Edward.
Yeah, we have a little bit of a train coming out of on the warm-up lap.
Yeah.
Because that's Edward, who is just behind him.
I think it's Steve. No, it's not Steve. It actually could be either Steve or Pedro.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
Steve crashed.
Yeah, the change to who was in second. Second on the road. Oh, well. Big sideways into Raskas there for Edward. Up over to the last corner and ready to start his first flying lap.
Yep.
Big twitch in the middle of the start-finish straight. Clearly through turn 1. Picking up speed, going uphill.
Try to watch the live timing and see if someone has a good start on this quali lap.
Yeah.
But then again, we don't know what's a good start. Edward's first sector was 26.1.
Yeah.
Andy did a 25.9.
Yep.
Michelle 26.2. Andrew fastest so far, 25.4.
Oh, that is quite a lot faster than anybody else.
And then Crash 25.2. So far, Crash is the fastest.
Yeah, leading the way in sector 1 at least.
Yep. Luca did a 26.0, so he's 8/10 behind Crash in sector 1.
Yeah, that is quite a bit to be for being Luca.
Yeah.
Well, he will get another shot at doing a lap, maybe even 2, depending on when he crosses the finish line. Hello, Geroid. Welcome along. There's some touch on the inside, on the curbing, and going through the last corner there for Edward. And across the line for our first qualifying lap time of 1:39.4.
Yeah. And Andy beat him straight away.
Yeah.
1:38.2.
So that's 1.2 seconds. That is quite quite a gap. I see Steve has put in the 3rd fastest lap time on his first flying lap. Make that 4th now that Luca has finished the lap.
Yeah. And still don't have any sector 2 or 3 for Crash. Did he start a new lap? I think he did.
I think he might have done, yeah. Or maybe overshot the chicane, so the lap might have been invalidated.
Ah, yeah.
But Luca was 8/10 behind on the first sector and was only 3/10 behind at the finish line, so he's been faster around the circuit than Andy has been.
Yeah, but it was 8/10 behind Crash.
Oh yeah, it was behind Crash, of course, yes.
Yeah. Crash did 25.2 in the first sector on the first quali lap, this one is 25.8, so it's actually slower this time.
Yep.
But as far as I could remember, Andy did do 25.6 or 8 something, so he's close to Luca anyways.
Yep. Yes, it is. Hi, Leandro. Welcome along. And the timer has reached 0, so Steve is the one we have on screen at the moment. Coming around the last
Edward has had a new fastest lap.
Yeah. Steve slammed into the wall, so he does not improve his lap time on the last flying lap.
I don't think Crash will do it as well, because he's done a 101 in Sector 2.
Oh, yeah. So he's had a spin. Hello, Kitty.
Yeah.
Hi. Yeah, Crash is slowest of everyone who's put in a lap time. So it's just Andrew who's left out on track, but I think he's... or no, he's not on the fast lap, because he crossed the finish line just ahead of Steve.
Yeah.
And the time had already ended.
Yep.
Or run out. So that means that Luca takes pole position with a 137.0 ahead of Edward with a 137.8. Andy in third with a 138.2. Andrew in fourth with a 138.9. Steve in fifth, 139.9. Michelle in sixth with a 140.4. And Crash in seventh with a 150.6. And at eighth position we have Pedro, who didn't... I don't think he went out the track even once in the qualifying.
He has 3 registered started laps, but no finished.
Ah, okay. Yeah, so that's the thing then. Right, so set starting order, that's right. And we then do the auto cycle. I don't know if there is any... if there's going to be any pit stops in this. But I guess we'll find out that when we get there.
Yeah, cross that bridge when you get there.
Well,
now we're going to do the warm-up with reconnaissance lap.
Yeah. So I don't remember how much time they have to do, how much time they have to get out on the pits and do the reconnaissance lap, and then again how much time they have to
4
do
minutes.
that. 4 minutes, okay. And then they have, I think, 2 minutes or so to complete that reconnaissance lap and get to the grid spot.
Yeah, the timer says 3:08 at the moment.
Yep, we are currently following Pedro around the track. Just taking it very nice and easy. There's no need to pick up any damage to the car on the reconnaissance lap. Love that there is sitting water on the track. Yeah, that is probably one of the reasons why we are driving the are using the DLC track for rFactor 2, the modern day Grand Prix track, instead of the one that is in the track pack that we have been using for the other Formula 1 races. Because this one has been updated with the new weather system and the wet mapping and everything that is in rFactor 2 now. So it looks really good.
There's something wrong on my screen because I don't see any cars on the track.
Oh, that might be a disconnection of sorts.
Yeah, but it's been like this for like 4 minutes.
Are you full screen?
Try a quick relog.
Yeah, I think that might be good. It doesn't change much whether you're spectating anyway.
No.
So Pedro hit the escape and went back to the pits and starting a new reconnaissance lap.
Oh yeah, and it's as far as I remember, the timer is going down really fast now, so he might be close to the limit.
Yeah, I know he's out on the track at least before the time goes out.
Yeah.
The only one who's still in the pits is Michel. Yeah, you have 2 minutes to park after the timer has run out, and we are with 43 seconds left right now. And Michel has also left the pit lane, so all cars are out on track.
And I can see cars again.
Is it clearly now the rain is gone?
Yeah, you wish.
Yeah. Well, not for another 31 laps.
Yeah.
So currently following Crash, who is lining up. Seems like he missed the grid spot actually, but it might be...
Might be the way the grids are staged on this layout.
Yeah, could be. So Luca is already in position. Edward is moving by the harbor right now, past the swimming pool.
Steve is on the grid. 1 minute 30 left until the cars has to be on the grid.
Yeah. So the pre-release of Project Motor Racing earlier today looks great so far. Has anyone used the previous titles of GTR and GTR2? Yeah, I've played a bit of both. Both of those games are quite fun. A few years since they were released, but they seem to hold up quite well. Right, I think pretty much everyone is on their spots now, aren't they? No, Michel is working his way around the last corner of the track. Yeah, we're also missing Andy. Yes. Working his way around, I suppose. Yep. Going into the Raskas now. Raskas corner. This is gonna be awesome with us trying to pronounce all these corner names that none of us will remember the name of.
And the timer is off. Out.
Yep. Okay, and
we have green.
Yeah, super start by Luca.
Yes. And
Just
also by Steve.
Flying in the into the turn one with good margin to everybody else. Steve had a good start, yes.
And we have no spins.
No, that's good. That is kind of incredible, but still really good. So
everybody
Luca
on Discord is surprised as well.
Yeah. Yeah, because starting these cars in this kind of weather, I mean, a standing start, that is they do take some careful consideration of the throttle.
Yeah. And you really can't just feather the control of the gas, but because you will spin no matter what you try.
Yeah. It might be better to just start in a higher gear and just crawl off the line. Oh, big slide for Edward in the background.
Yeah.
And again.
Kind of said as usual.
Yeah.
That chicane has been his Achilles heel on every practice lap I've been watching.
Yeah, yeah, we've seen him backwards there more than once.
Yeah.
But of course, all this does is release Luca up high. He's already have a 2.5 second gap.
Yeah, and it's increasing.
Yep.
So first lap is done,
Yeah.
and we have the grid kind of together.
Yeah, more or less. But well, it's
Yeah.
2.5 seconds between Luca and Edward. Then 2 seconds down from Edward down to Andy again. And then everybody's separated by a second and a half or so.
Yeah, so the entire grid is under 12 seconds apart.
Yep.
In the first lap.
Yep, they are.
Would have known.
Yeah. Next question is, how long will it stay like this?
Oh, the commentator's curse, Roy. You know what's going to happen now, and I think it just did.
Yeah.
I saw some Crash has some problems.
Michelle has fallen.
He's in the wall.
Yeah, Crash is in the wall. I did see Michelle drop a couple of positions too.
Yeah.
Crash is back running again now. Let's look in the... Crash and Michelle. I think they touched coming into the... that looks strange. Coming down over a little bumpy section.
Yeah. Shame for Crash. Crash was fast driver in the practice, and he spun the car in the chicane.
Backwards again. Nice clean first lap. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
And then everything happened in lap 2 instead.
Commentator's curse.
Yeah. Hi, Hugo. Welcome along as well.
Did you bring an umbrella?
Yeah. Or snorkel like Leandro did.
Yeah.
So we have a...
Well, as I was saying, Crash was fast in practice and also had a good first sector in the quali.
Yep.
But after that, it all went downhill.
Oh, I'm watching Michel currently. He had a big slide in the middle of the start. Oh, hard into the wall in turn 1.
And something has happened with Edward because he's down to 4th.
Yeah. No, that's no good.
Guessing a spin or a big slide.
Yeah, let's see if we can catch it on the replay.
Swimming goggles does count, Hugo.
Yeah. Okay, so it happened before this. Okay, I need to rewind even more. Oh, Edward had a spin coming out of the last corner and hit the wall.
Ooh.
Going straight into the wall, actually. So he's moved down to 4th then. As Luca is putting in the fastest lap of the race on that previous lap with a 1:37.4.
That's qual speed.
Yeah, that is.
Watching that replay, it kind of looked like Edward was, clipping the inside wall.
Yeah, might have done. Or being a bit too early on the power or something to make the car twitch.
Yeah.
Okay, we have side-by-side action between Michel and Pedro. And Pedro squeezed by into turn 1. As I say that, Edward is really close to Steve again up ahead as well. Oh, Michel had a big touch to the wall, so he's fallen back a bit. But now Pedro is quite close to Andrew Lingard in 5th. 0.4 of a second between them. So careful around the hairpin. Just leave the mankini at home. looking at the grid, looks like Steve has actually pulled out a little bit of a gap on Edward again. Not by much, mind you, but it is a lot a lot longer, a lot bigger distance compared to what it was just a lap ago.
Well, a gap is a gap.
Yeah. So let's go on board with Pedro then, who is chasing down Andrew.
That's the closest battle we have at the moment.
Yeah, it is. Just underneath a second between them.
You can see in the rearview mirrors maybe that Crush is, I wouldn't say catching up to Pedro, but he's quite much closer now than earlier.
Yeah, he was almost 3 seconds faster on the previous lap.
Yeah. And the distance between them is roughly 3.5 seconds, so a couple of laps maybe Crash is chasing the rear bumper for Pedro.
Yeah, that lap that Crash put in on the previous lap is the third fastest lap in the race.
Yeah.
So he's starting to get a feel for it.
And they're getting some heat in those tires maybe.
Yeah, that too.
Edward is slowly gaining on Steve as well.
Yeah, he's caught
2
back up.
seconds faster lap.
Yeah, he's caught up back a second now. Yeah, he caught up almost a full second in sector 1 alone.
Yeah, and on the braking in the final corner, he was quite close to him. So Steve has no time to rest.
No, that's
big slide for Steve.
even big one for Edward.
Edward crashed.
Yeah, I jumped to him to watch the battle, and then of course he spun the first thing he did. Now he's being joined by Andrew and Pedro. And perhaps also even Crash.
Yeah, because he's just about 2 seconds behind now.
Yeah.
Oh, Steve has trouble.
Steve in trouble. Oh, looked like he went straight on in the down the hill.
Those co-drivers, they need to learn the pace notes.
Yeah. So,
this means it would be maybe a 5-car battle now.
Yeah. I was gonna say, might be a 5-car gaggle running around the track.
Chicane, Steve going through, Edward going through, Andrew going through, Pedro going through, and Crash right on the tail of Pedro, still catching up.
Yep. Yeah, looks like Steve and Edward has gapped Andrew a little bit now.
Yeah, it's weird to say it under these conditions, but I think Steve can feel the heat.
Yeah.
As Edward slid again.
Yeah, and only half a second between Crash and Pedro now for
Yep.
6th position. Oh, and a big slide for Crash.
When is Crash going to get a break? He's been doing so great, catching up to the other guys, and then he just spins out. Oh, Steve is off the track again.
No.
That means Edward is past, and Andrew is right on his tail now.
Yeah. Okay, I'll see if I can find a replay of that.
Oh, it's the same mistake as earlier.
Oh yes, it is too late on the brakes for the right-hander at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah.
Locking up the rear tires.
Now Stevie's on a mission. He's going to catch Edward. Edward's through the chicane. Steve through the chicane, no big trouble there.
Andrew is even closer to Steve.
Yeah.
We could see in the background that Crash is also well, still 2 seconds between him and Pedro for 6th.
Yeah, but you know, Crash is fast, so 2 seconds is not a lot of time for him.
No.
He's actually faster on best lap than anyone in the top, yeah, maybe 3 spots ahead of him.
Yeah.
Oh, Andy spun.
It was Andy was spun there. Oh.
Yeah, and Steve just made the pass.
Yeah.
Really close.
Everything is kicking off in here.
Yeah.
So Steve is then back up into 3rd.
And Edward is in 2nd.
Yeah. And Andrew is right on the rear. I was gonna say rear bumper, but there are no bumpers on these cars. But
Yeah,
on the
the
rear
wing.
end of Andy's car, yeah.
He's on the wing.
Yeah, and Pedro is
Going
just
in for a landing.
behind. Pedro is just behind Andrew as well.
Yeah. And then you have Crash just a second behind them again.
Yeah.
So,
This race really, it really lives.
I kind of enjoy that we don't have so many more cars.
Yeah.
Because it would be chaos.
Yeah, I was joking in the forums earlier that there was so few cars that I would be able to keep up with everything that's happening. But no, turns out
Nope.
I'm not. I can't keep up with everything happening.
No. But Luca, he's in his own league tonight.
Yeah.
25 seconds ahead of Edward.
Big spin for both Andrew and Pedro. So Crash is past Pedro there. Oh, and a big spin for Crash out of the final corner. Yeah, he did save it.
Andrew had a small tail slap in one of those corners as well.
Yeah. I do wonder how the tire wear is. Because at Imola, they were in the rain. People were jumping into the pits and putting on fresh tires quite often. But I don't seem to remember that being a problem on the tire wear as such.
I don't remember, but was this mod not possible to fill fuel?
Yeah, I think that's correct.
Yeah, so it was only tire changes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, and after all of that action, everybody's now a bit more spaced out again. Well, that being said, suddenly Crash caught back up to Andrew a bit, and Pedro caught up to Crash a little bit, so...
Everything is happening at once.
Yeah. No time to rest. And we're already on lap 10 out of 31, so we're 1/3 away into the race already. Man, imagine having a league with all of these cars.
Well, in that case, we need more practice.
Yeah. Well, something to consider over the winter period, I think.
Yeah, could be.
So we're still following Andrew in 5th position. Crash is 1.2 seconds behind. And then it's 2 seconds now down from Crash down to Pedro, so Pedro has dropped back a little bit.
And Luca is about to catch Michel for his first lapping.
Oh yeah. Let's go on board with Crash now. What?
It's just a couple of corners behind Michel.
Yeah. Yeah, Michel has really fallen off. He's 35 seconds behind Pedro in 7th.
Yeah. You can see it is. He might have had some trouble because he hasn't got the, the pace that the other guys has. But again, he's constant in driving, almost exactly the same lap time.
Yeah.
Many laps. It's a few laps with high numbers, like almost 2 minutes on a couple of them. But
Yeah.
accidents happened.
Yep. Last lap was his best lap of the race as well, with a 1:40.0.
Yeah. And in these conditions, that's not bad.
Oh, and Andy is facing backwards in the in turn 1. Let's have a look on the replay. What happened?
Lost a lot of time there.
Yeah, we lost the rear end going into the corner. So he's now just shy of 3 seconds behind Pedro, though, in 7th position. So we go back on board with Crash. He's just a second behind Andrew now.
Oh, little slide there.
Yeah.
Going into the tunnel.
The tunnel must be a nice breather for the drivers, given that it's dry in there. So the car should behave pretty more saner, if you want.
And it's also the only corner on the entire track where you can get some temperature in the tires.
Yeah. Yeah, well, given how much sideways drivers are going around there, I think some of them might have quite good temperature in the tires.
Yeah, I could say so.
So we haven't had anyone in the pits yet.
Well, I can hear them talking about pit stops, but
yeah,
I don't quite catch what they're saying.
no, it do depend on how well the tires are holding on in the weather, with all the lockups and sideways and all of that stuff as well.
Just caught Luca. He was cutting the chicane.
Oops.
I don't know if he had some trouble, but he's right on the wing of Michel, so might have an issue there.
Could be that he had some dirty air coming out and lacking the downforce, maybe.
Could be.
Tippy-toeing with Crash was really close to Andrew there for a couple of corners, but then was a bit too sideways, and Andrew got away a little bit again.
Yeah. Feel like we might should stop watching Crash, because every time we watch him, something bad happens.
Yeah.
And Luca got past Michel at this moment.
Yeah.
No trouble there.
And one thing is that Crash is just a few tenths behind Andrew, but just a second behind Crash again we have Pedro.
Yeah. Oh, Steve is ahead of Edward.
Indeed he is. And over the last lap he was 3 seconds faster, so something happened with Edward in the last sector. Let's have a look at the replay, and he did the same thing again. A big twitch into the last corner and into the outside wall.
What I could hear in Discord, Edward is not happy with that corner.
Yeah, I can imagine. Oh, and Crash has spun on the exit to turn 1. He's carried that
Big spin as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say he carried that spin quite a long way up the hill.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because he hit the wall on the... Oh, he hit the wall on the right side, and then the car spared off to the left and then spun.
Yeah.
Well, that's putting a damper on the on that fight.
One could say that this is not Crash's night. He had been doing better races before.
Yeah. Yeah, especially in the LMC races we did in December, it was really strong in those.
Well, it could be the conditions. Maybe it's just
Yep.
not as comfortable in the rain.
Yeah, these cars aren't really easy to drive to begin with. As we can see
No.
that Steve is in the wall on the going down the start-finish straight as well. Actually, one thing is it was that Steve touched the wall on the exit of the last corner, but he also slapped the wall really hard on the on the following straight, and some really sideways moments going uphill, just accelerating. Oh, very deep into the next corner. All of this is allowing Edward to close the gap even bigger, even more. The good thing about Monaco is that the speeds aren't really that high around there, so the spray is also not as bad as it probably would have been on a track like Monza.
And all of a sudden we got a breather in this race.
Yeah, well, it's nothing more than a second between Steve and Edward at this point. Edward was actually 0.7 of a second faster than Steve in Sector 1 on this lap.
Yeah.
But then Steve was almost 0.3 faster in Sector 2, so the gap has opened up a little bit again. But now we are about to face the nemesis of both of these drivers. Last corner.
And also the start-finish bend.
Yeah. Now everything looks pretty calm this time. Steve has pulled out an even bigger gap to Edward, because Steve did actually his best lap of the race on the previous lap with a 1:38.2. And he's pulled out a 2-second gap to Edward now. This is still...
I think Crash is going into the pits.
Yep, Crash is in the pits.
So the first pit stop then after 15 laps.
Yep. Halfway into the race. Which is usually when Steve is pitting, whenever there is a pit stop race.
Yeah, because he needs his coffee and his toilet break, you know.
Now Steve is still pulling away from Edward, actually. It's now over 3 seconds the gap between them.
Could Edward have some problems?
He could have overheated the tires a little bit and might have to back off a couple of laps to allow them back into temperature.
Yeah.
Or back inside the temperature window, maybe. And Crash has retired.
Looks like Edward is going in. Edward's in the pit.
Yes, he is. Yeah. Crash has retired into the garage, so Crash is out of the race. That's annoying. But also
on my screen, watching Crash in the pits, it just didn't look like his car was being lifted up for the tire change.
No. So Edward rejoins the race. Oh, come on, English, Roy, English.
In 4th place.
Pedro has also been in the pits from 6th position, or rejoins the race in 6th position.
Correct. That means Steve has just about 10 seconds gap down to Andrew.
Yep. And that is 8 seconds from Andrew down to Edward. 6 seconds from Edward down to Andy behind him. And 3.5 seconds, but more or less, between Andy and Pedro.
Yeah, and Steve is having some trouble after cutting the chicane.
Oops.
I don't know if his car is struggling or if it is him.
Well, it could be both.
Yeah.
Oh, wide again around the swimming pool. So Steve might be on his way into the pits now to get a new set of tires.
No, is keeping on going on.
Yep, yeah, he is.
Huh.
And this lap, Steve put in the very best sector 1 of anyone. But still, with all the extra stuff that happened, that wasn't enough to improve his lap time.
No. Sector 2 was actually 4 seconds slower than his best one.
Oh, yeah. So we have quite literally a lot of water between the boats right now.
Yeah. Well, at the moment we're just waiting for Steve to go into the pits, and also Andrew has to go into the pits soon. But then again, I think Andrew has managed to keep the tires in a better condition than Steve, because Steve has had more spins.
Yeah, I think so. And there is no mandatory pit stop.
Battling.
Oh, look at that. Click the right button. There we go. Yeah, Andy is quite close to Edward suddenly. Because Edward was behind, I think, going out of the pits.
I can't say I've seen Andy go into the pits either.
No, I don't think he has. I don't think he has, no.
Steve keeps going.
Yep, keeps on moving on for another lap. No, Edward has done something funny in the middle sector on that lap, because he was 10 seconds slower than Andy on that lap.
Oh.
Then pretty much equal over the last sector. Just 1.5 tenths in it. Yeah, you know the cars are difficult to drive when even the mod maker has been facing the wrong way quite a number of times
Yeah.
in the race.
Well, he should know this by by memory.
Yeah. Old muscle memory. Yeah, this is the closest battle we have on the track right now. And down through the hairpin and the slow section going downhill there, it seems like Andy is
Steve is in trouble. Steve's going to the pits, I think. No, he keeps going, but he keeps spinning as well.
Let's go back and have a look at a replay of that.
Final 2 corners.
Yeah.
No, not the final 2. Some.
Yeah, had a big lock
At
up.
least the final corner.
Yeah, a big lock up in the second to last corner, and then went wide again on the final corner. And
Yep.
and then of course we move away, and they have changed position, and they are about to change position again. Edward and Andy down the start finish straight. Edward
This
on
is
the
not so
inside.
good, but...
Oh, and Andy spins.
Andy!
And this will also
Unlucky
allow Pedro past, because Pedro was just a second behind there as well.
Yeah.
But what happened? Go on the replay and look at the pass. Oh, after chicane and into the harbor there, Edward was really hard into the wall.
Oh.
So that was why
Pedro spun in the... Yeah, you're the...
And the hairpin.
The U-turn.
Yep. And it gets back by. Ah. Yeah, looking at the replay, locked up while turning into the corner. Into the hairpin there. And you know, all of this has put Andrew up to third position then. He's third. Yep, go on.
Just to answer Hugo in the chat, Andy Schremser is the mod maker.
Yep.
He's currently in 5th position.
Yeah.
First time racing with us.
Yeah, it is. So a big thank you to Andy for the mod. It has, even though I haven't driven these cars a single meter myself, I had quite a lot of fun watching these races.
Yeah, I've driven a race, and yeah, it's a lot of fun watching these races.
Yeah.
As we talk about Andy, he's going into the pits.
Yep.
Well, it's no secret that open wheelers is not my cup of tea.
Yeah, me neither.
I need a roof.
Yeah. I usually drive one open wheeler race in the year, and that is the Formula 1 race that Edward usually puts on Le Mans, on Le Mans week, which most likely then will happen on Monday in 1 week, because
it's a holiday.
Yep, because next weekend, well, in 2 weeks' time then from now, is a real life Le Mans.
Nice.
And we will also have a Group C race at Le Mans on Thursday. So on the Thursday before the race, the real life race. But you know what? We haven't really talked about Luca all that much, or shown him on screen all that much in this race, because he's been just, well, doing Luca things,
Yeah.
running away with it.
He's been himself. He's catching Pedro for another lapping of a driver. He's lapped Crash, he's lapped Michael, he's lapped Andy. So Pedro is his next offer?
Yeah, victim, yeah.
Victim.
Or target, maybe. Might sound even better.
Yeah, target. He has this in his harpoon sight.
Yeah. And only 5 seconds ahead of Pedro we have Edward.
Yeah.
Who's been doing all kinds of shenanigans this race. Oh, Pedro!
Oh, Pedro, keep it.
Keep it together, man.
Yeah. And Lucas passed him.
Yeah. Yeah, now Luca has been...
He's past half of the grid.
Yep. Yeah, Luca has been doing a real masterclass tonight. It's been... seems to have been in control all the way, really.
There's a spin in the final corner. It looks like Michel spun, and Steve had to go really wide to go around him.
Let's have a look at the replay. Yeah, Michel lost it when coming off the brakes into the last second to last corner there.
Yeah. I'm wondering how long the top 3 guys will last before they have to pit.
Yeah, if they have to pit at all.
It depends.
We are already on lap 22 out of 31, so we are within the last few laps.
Again? Oh, Steve spun again.
Yeah, I thought I could see him going very sideways there.
In his famous spinning corner.
Yeah. Drifting on his way into the hairpin. It might be the way to go with the big Evo on the hill climbs, but doesn't seem to be the fastest way to go about the Formula 1 track.
Well, one thing is going sideways up a hill in an Evo. This is downhill in a Formula 1 car.
Yeah.
On a wet track.
Yeah, and right now we're in a point where everybody is separated by 10 seconds or more.
Yeah. Good for us, because
Yeah.
then we can breathe some.
Yeah. And actually take a sip of something to drink. Oh, and hello Ole in the chat.
Hello, Ole.
And of course I forgot to click the check mark in the overlay that would put some more information of the car on the screen. On the screen. Yep, there we go. So many functions in this broadcast overlay thingy that I keep pushing the wrong buttons all the time and forgetting that stuff is there.
Well, it's really easy for me just sitting here watching and talking.
Yeah. So when I did this with Simon, he was doing all the talking, and I could just be in the background figuring out all the buttons and stuff.
Yeah. We could do that, but then I have to watch a race with cars I actually know.
Yeah.
As we were talking, Steve just cut the chicane again. Oh,
Yep.
He's got a drive to penalty.
Oh, because of the cutting. Oops. And at the same time, I'm looking at the live timing, and it says that Andrew has put in the absolute fastest sector 1 of anyone in the race.
Ooh.
And Steve is going into the pits and taking his drive through.
Very good. How will it affect his position? Andrew is not that far behind.
No, 12 seconds by when Steve got into the pits. It's catching up, but it's fast enough.
Close?
Is he catching up fast enough? Oh, come on. Yeah, exactly. 3.4.
It's close, but not that close.
No, because Andrew lost a lot of time in the second sector there. He was faster than anybody else in sector 1, but then he was at least 7, maybe even 8 seconds slower than anybody else in the middle sector. So his lap time was in the end 8 seconds slower than his best lap time of the race.
Yeah. But still, he's kind of close.
Yeah,
It's
1.7
like 2
seconds. Yep.
Yeah.
Now, do we have any other... yeah, no, let's stick with this camera angle.
Luca is catching Edward.
Yeah.
But he's going fast.
Yeah, I was gonna say that is to put another lap on Edward, so
Yeah.
so it's not really anything other than position on track.
No. Oh, Edward spun in the chicane. Trying to keep up with Luca.
Yeah. Andrew is getting really close to Steve now.
Yeah.
It's just over a second between them.
Oh, great lap, Andrew, compared to Steve. 4 seconds faster.
Yeah. And that was with dropping 0.6 of a second to Steve in the middle sector, so it was really good in sector 1 and in sector 3.
Yeah.
That being said, a big twitch over from him this time. So he's lost another second then.
But we are in the section of the track where Steve likes to go wide, so...
Yeah, yes we are. Well, that was almost a stall actually by Andrew in the hairpin. Had to kick the clutch to keep the revs going.
lost all of the time he gained on the last lap.
Yep.
You're going into the chicane. Ah, nice chicane by Steve. No drive-through penalty this time.
Yeah. Yeah, there aren't that many corners on this track where you can accumulate cut penalty points. Mostly because the barriers are the edge of the of the track.
Yeah.
But also in some points where you have curbs, you don't have much space on the outside of the curbs before you're in the wall anyway.
By the end of this lap, or maybe next lap, Steve will be catching Michel.
Yeah, and Steve has just answered Andrew, and Steve has put in his best lap of the race with a 1:37.3.
But how will Steve behave when catching Michel?
Oh, there's a yellow flag.
Ah, it's Michel.
Michel, okay.
So he will behave quite good.
Yeah. No, sorry, I clicked the wrong button. So Andrew lost.
Got past.
Yeah, Andrew lost quite a bit of time in the hairpin. They're having to go around, even further around Michel compared to what Steve did. So the gap is still opening up, but all at the same time. Yeah, of course. And when I jump to Pedro, who has been catching up to Edward really fast there, Pedro has a big slide and lose 4 seconds to Edward straight away.
Yeah.
So it was a second between them. Now it's 5.
Well, Pedro had a great sector 1. I don't think sector 2 will be that good.
No.
It was actually one of the fastest in sector 1 on this lap. Steve is the fastest.
Yeah, and I do see that Edward actually lost 4 seconds to Pedro on the previous lap. Schrems is correct, yes indeed. That is the man with the mod making skills.
Nice to see someone has the skills for once.
Yeah. He's been a part of, or had a, what do you call it? Had a finger in the play with more of the mods as well.
Yeah.
Well, that is.
Oh, Edward crashed.
No. It's still going though, but the gap is then suddenly closed back up again. The mod father, yeah. I like that. Oh, and Pedro, big slide in the background. Oh, and Edward with
Edward!
Edward with a spin. Oh, and Pedro hits him. Oh no. I think maybe Pedro expected to understeer more into that hairpin than he did.
Yeah.
Well, 3 more laps of racing and we still get all sorts of entertainment. Oh, and Edward spins again.
Oh.
And a big whack to the wall.
Oh, don't cut the chicane.
Yeah, shouldn't be a problem. Oh, and in the background, Andy spun as well into the chicane.
And he was just catching up to Edward.
Yes. Oh man, oh man.
And while all this carnage is happening, Luca is about to lap Michel again.
Yeah.
He's just driving around the track.
Yep.
Did anyone tell him it's a wet track?
Yeah. I think he might have seen that because of the way all the others are driving.
Yeah.
But then again, it's easy to sit here and make fun of him. But there is something completely different being in the car on the track.
Yeah. You would be soaking wet.
Yeah, that is one thing. Well, Edwards actually caught up 6 seconds to Pedro over the first sector of the lap. So it looked like Pedro might have had a spin.
Yeah.
Okay, back on board with Edward then. Into the tunnel. Oh, and my game froze. Going into the chicane. Oh, and Edward spins on the exit. Oh.
It's no surprise, but I can say Edward is not happy on Discord right now.
Yeah, I can imagine. But then all of a sudden Andy is closer to Edward from behind than Edward is to Pedro ahead of him.
Yeah.
But it's still just far enough ahead of Andy to not be seen by him, other than on the longer straights. And Andy's had a couple of sideways moments there, so he's dropped back a bit again.
Yeah. Andrew going through the chicane with Luca right on his wing.
Oh, I see Crash has written in the chat. His cat decided to step on the keyboard just to activate the free move camera, which means that every time the rig was shaking, the mouse was moving the camera until it went completely left. Oh no! Oh man!
I think that's one of the worst DNFs I've ever heard.
Yeah, that is like. Oh, that was Alex who was joining us for a race. And he had for some reason he managed to click the button that put the trackside camera while he was driving, and he didn't find the buttons to move back to the onboard cameras, so he had to retire out of the race and to try to avoid taking anybody else out with him.
Do I remember correctly? But back in the good old RDLMS days, there was someone who was racing and had a fire alarm.
Oh yeah, I think so. At the university thingy where he was living.
Yeah.
Even for a driver excuse, that is beyond radical. Yeah. Okay, let's follow Luca then for the last half lap, because this is the last half lap of the race.
And Luca has been amazing this race.
Yeah.
No one could compete with him.
Oh, it's been absolutely outstanding. From what I can tell, he hasn't put any foot wrong for the entirety of the race.
Can't get a penalty from the stewards. He has no wet food this weekend.
And Lucas just behind Andrew there as well, so it's only Andrew and Steve that he hasn't put a lap on in this race.
Yeah. You know, those guys are fast, so
yeah.
No way he could catch them. And here he goes through the finish line.
And across the line and into a really solid win.
Yeah, massive lead.
Yeah.
1 minute and 12 seconds ahead of Steve.
Yep. Who we are following now, going into the corner where we've seen him backwards a couple of times. All good this time.
No power slides through the hairpin.
No, he's got 7 seconds in hand to Andrew, who actually caught up 2 seconds in that first sector on this lap.
Andrew had a great hairpin. Steve's going through the tunnel.
Now where is Edward on the track?
Steve locking up.
Oh, Edward. Oh no, that might be across the finish line, of course. Never mind.
Steve locked up going into the chicane, but he just caught it, so he didn't get a penalty.
5.5 seconds between them now.
Well, Steve has this one as long as he doesn't spin in one of the last corners. Through. This looks great, Steve.
Yep.
Going in for the second position in the wet race, Steve Legale.
I was just waiting for him to lose it on the start-finish straight there. And into an equally good, solid third position for Andrew Lindgaard.
Very good race there.
Yep.
I think he's one of those who has spun least.
Yeah, I think so. He's just been doing a consistent race.
Yep.
Everybody else has crossed the finish line now, so Pedro is in 4th position, Edward finished 5th, Andy finished 6th in his first race with us, Michelle in 7th, and Crash then, of course, retired about halfway into the race, so that's an 8th position for him.
Retired due to a cat.
Yeah, that sounds like something I could do. That I almost did before the race. Yeah, and then we're following Andy on his way on the in lap after the race. That has been an entertaining race again. I do hope that we will get even more drivers into these races when the summer period is over and everybody else is. Well, the temperature is going down and people are going sim racing again.
Well, I would really suggest that those of you who are watching and really would like to try, just join the forum, sign up.
Yep. Yeah, feel free. The more people on the track, the merrier, and the more fun we will have.
Indeed. And
speaking of races, we do have a race in the rFactor 2 Club on Thursday with the Toyota Corolla AE86 at the Suzuka West circuit. So for anybody who wants to drive something slightly slower, feel free to join us on Thursday. I will at least be on the track. Will it be
dry or wet race?
I think that'll be dry. I think that's what's been scheduled. Yep, 2 races, 20 minutes each in dry conditions. But yeah, I think that is it's time to sum up everything really. Big congratulations to Luca again for an outstanding race win.
Out of everyone's league.
Yep. So I think that we might have to. The next wet race for Luca must be on slicks, I think.
Yeah,
to make it fair for everybody else.
and a weight penalty.
Yeah. Right. Well,
he's 1.3 seconds faster in his fastest lap. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been really been crushing everybody out there. Well, his best lap time was only 0.2 faster actually than Edward's fastest lap time, because Edward did put in a 1:36.6 in the last lap of the race.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that.
But that was a little bit too late.
A late attack there.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think we'll end it there. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody who has. Thank you to Joachim for joining me in the booth, trying to make some sense out of it all.
Well, we tried.
Yeah, can't say that we succeeded, but we did give it a good shot at least.
Indeed.
Yeah, thank you so much to everybody for watching. Do enjoy whatever's left of your Tuesday, and we will catch you all later. So take care and goodbye.
Bye bye.
Oh, funny.